Support the Amigos podcast and keep the Amiga goodness flowing for just $1 a month. Visit our page at patreon.com/AmigosPodcast. Hi everybody, welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today we're going to be talking about Rockstar Ate My Hamster. But before we do, I'd like to show off my brand new apparel.
I was wondering where that t-shirt would go, and now I know.
So this was sent to us by none other than O'Brien's Retro and Vintage for our Christmas Spectacular. So he sent it just my size. So.
That explains the diet right there.
Yeah, right.
just squeezed into that thing,
just squeezed into it. So thank you, O'Brien's. We got some great feedback from our Christmas episode.
Really?
Lots of people really liked it.
I was a little nervous about the Christmas episode, so I'm glad, it went over well.
Dreamcatcher said, that was amazing. Thanks, guys. The pics, the memories, flickering fire background, Prezzies, awesome mini A1000 especially. Thank you.
I've got to link that up.
Yeah, I took a picture of it. I need to put that on. Everything, heartwarming stuff. I'm feeling so festive now I could donate a giant turkey to an impoverished bookkeeper and his kin.
No, beautiful. Well said, by the way.
Let's see. There was something that I messed up quite horribly on the Christmas Spectacular.
Oh, yeah?
So I got some of the screenshots wrong when I was copying the answers down or something. So here's the deal. Brent, you, and O'Brien's and Will Williams were all right to say that the candy canes were taken from Zool.
Yes,
So you were right about that.
I knew it.
And Will Williams and O'Brien's were spot on, saying the angular 3D hut in the snow was from Midwinter. I went back and I checked, and I just forgot to write down those clues. So I apologize.
Coal in the stocking for both.
Yeah, it's a Christmas.
Still, there was a lot of information on that show. You're bound to buy something.
Now, here's a message from Chris Folds. He says, hope you like the gifts, and that Aaron realized, which I don't think we realized this, the A1200 badge, remember that he sent us?
Yeah.
That actually is meant to affix on your 1200. It replaces the crappy paper sticker that came with it.
Oh, boy!
To give it a bit more class.
That's something for me to keep.
Yeah, so I'll send that home
Thanks,
to you
man.
tonight.
Beautiful. He's right, because mine is crappy.
It's the cheapest Amiga upgrade you can buy.
Oh, man. That makes me feel all fuzzy. I love it.
And Ralph Bunya said, congratulations on the awesome Amigos Christmas special. He thinks it turned out great. It was a lot of fun hanging out. And we really appreciate all the folks that showed up on Twitter and were participating in the chat. That made things really come alive.
I was very pleased and surprised we had that many people show up. And it was a lot of fun to do it in real time. You know, it's not something we do every week, it's for sure, but it was fun, you know.
Yeah, and I think for episode 100 we'll probably do another one.
It's nice to know that there are people, because we really didn't even, I don't know how much notice was even put out about that stuff. It's neat that people showed up and hung out with us, and some people stayed there for quite a while.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that, everybody. It's nice to feel like people are kind of in touch and everything, you know, that people are out there listening.
So that's it for the feedback this week. I got one piece of news before you dive into your news. This was sent to us on Facebook by Bella Erdos. And it's an article from Gizmodo Australia that talks about this is a new HDMI out graphics card for an Amiga 2000. So this is Lucas Hartman has built this thing, and it's a mass production effort. And the first pre-order is already sold out. The name of the thing is called the MNT VA 2000, but he's launched a second batch pre-order for those who missed out. The card supports a max res of 1280 by 720. It's 16-bit color, or if you want to go with a lower resolution, 24-bit. And like I said, it comes with HDMI out. Now here's the thing, the price is not too expensive. It's only 189 euros, which is about the same as a low to mid-range GPU from today. So, and thank you very much, Bella, for sending that in. That's really cool.
Yes, very neat. You need to keep that kind of stuff coming. It's nice that stuff's getting released. It's crazy the amount of hardware that's in the pipe.
Yeah. You know, the more and more I look at those sort of pizza box Amigas like the 1000, the 2000, I start to see the appeal a little bit.
I have to say, the 1000... I've owned a 2000, but it was just for a cup of coffee. I didn't have it very long. The 1000 I had for years and years, twice. I bought it twice. And it was it was awful convenient to have that little garage with the keyboard, and it felt more like a proper computer. The Amiga is compact, but having to reach around for floppy drives a pain. You know, the 1000 had the floppy right on the front there, which was nice. So there it has its advantages. The 2000 having those expansion slots, because if you start moving everything sideways, I mean, you can have an Amiga. It's funny how the computers of the 80s expanded, because my Coco had a side expansion slot.
This just like the same sort of sidecar that the 500 has?
Well, and so did the TI-994A. Had a big... The TI had this thing you hooked on the side. It looked like a... I mean, it was like a computer garage, big metal thing. If you could pick it up, you could beat someone to death with it. But the Amiga had it, you know, the same thing where you go out to the side, and does it work? Yes. But is it functional on your desk? No. And you know, we've got the thing to put on our 500, and it's the same thing. And I've had, you know, and of course with the Amiga, you might have your Amiga, and you might have off to the side, you might have your IDE or SCSI, and maybe some memory. And then I had an additional memory expansion that just all it was memory. And then everything has its own switch, because some games won't work with the extra memory slot. Some games don't like the hard drive. Yeah. And so it's like Gods. You remember Gods? We had to pull the switches to activate certain things. It's the same thing. You're running back and forth. You know, of course, if it was easy, everyone would do it, I guess. But
or just buy a different computer system, which is what people did.
Yeah, you're right. But having a nice, proper
upgradable case. Yeah,
I remember. I know I've mentioned this, but the Amiga 1000 was supposed to have an upgradable case that was going to add Zorro slots. I think it was called the Bodega Bay, and I kept waiting for this thing to get released. I actually called French Canada, tried to talk to some French Canadians who didn't understand what the hell I was saying. I didn't know what they were saying. I don't think it ever came out, but I wanted one so bad because everyone else was getting all the expansion slots and all this easy access to memory and video cards. And I couldn't do any of it on the 1000.
Yeah,
you know, but the 1000 was old. Yeah. Yeah, it's great news. You know, it's funny. It's sold all. They've already sold out the first run. That seems to be another common trend with this stuff. It seems like it's instantly gone. I don't know how that Kickstarter campaign for the keyboards and the cases. I don't know how much of that's already claimed.
Yeah, I haven't kept up with that yet.
But it's incredible, the demand. You know what I'm saying? That's what blows me away. I often worry that I'm going to wake up and my stuff's just not going to turn on.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And if you've invested in a keyboard, new keys, and all this expansion software, I mean, one thing people have to remember is like this stuff's old, man, and it could go at any time. It's not like you can just hop down the street and pick another one up.
Yeah.
Not without serious bucks.
Yeah.
So,
now this is the Kickstarter for the keycaps, and it looks like it's ticking up as we go. So
they're gonna make it.
Yeah, 451 backers. They only need $7,000 more, and they've still got 21 days to go.
They're gonna make it. It's a good It's good.
Yeah, I think that they're charging about $100 for, let's see, $75 for a keycap set. I mean, that's not bad. This is a specialty product.
Yeah, I mean, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
It's something. I mean, that's $70. Just think about it, money.
Right.
It's not just like spur of the moment. Like $50, that's an easy buy. $75, you're moving up. But that's a big hassle having those things knocked out.
Right.
You know? So yeah, I'd say that's probably about what I would expect it to go for.
What else do you have going on?
I don't have a ton of news this week. Like I was talking to Bo earlier, I had some funeral-y type stuff I had to take care of this week, so it's kind of tied up. But I did grab a few items off the old internet here. First thing, we talked about, I think it was last week, the week before, that Amiga had an extra level added to Another World, or Out of This World. So I guess I don't know if it's the same gang or another gang, but they've done it again. We mentioned, it's been a couple months ago where they ported over the sequel, Heart of the Alien, over to the Amiga, and they've done it again. They have taken that Heart of the Lion, or Heart of the Alien, and they Heart of the
Lion.
Lionheart. I got Lionheart on my mind. They've taken Heart of the Alien, and they've re-released it with new. They've made some changes, smashed some bugs, but it also comes with an extra level that wasn't in it, which is awesome. So. We'll have a link to that up, but I haven't played that one. Have you played Heart of the Alien? I remember when it came out. I never got to play it.
No. It's funny. I've played so many different games in Another Worlds, Another World, Out of This World, and Flashback. They totally passed me by that first time.
That's amazing. You never played Flashback?
No.
That is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I know there was a new release of Win UAE this week. I have not tried it, so I don't know.
I need to upgrade my Win UAE. I haven't done that in a while.
I don't use Win UAE that much for the obvious reasons that I use the actual Amiga, but it's a tremendous piece of software, obviously. Mm-hmm. But anytime they release a new version, they've added. We didn't talk about this, but one of the versions they released recently added support for American laser games.
I'd love to play Mad Dog McCree.
Which I thought was interesting. Daphne will play those games, but it's still neat to play those in the original Amiga environment.
Right.
I don't know if the Amiga controlled... I don't think it controlled all those aspects of that game. I think it just did the video part, but I'm not 100% sure about that. I don't know what that... We may have to fire that up so just see what it does.
Yeah.
This is sort of news, because I'm gonna spring it on boat here. Last week on the Christmas show, he sort of called me out on this $20 game machine. If you'll recall, and I think Brent raised the tally, $25. So I went back to the workshop and came up with this. Pull it out here. This is my $20 game machine right here. That's the Duke. You remember the Duke?
It's the original Xbox controller.
That's the original Xbox controller. Pick it up anywhere, couple bucks, cheap. No one liked these. Mm-hmm. They're easy to find at retail shops
because
or resale shops.
They're large and uncomfortable.
They're large and uncomfortable, but you get used to them. But what they also are cavernous.
Yes,
inside.
Very true.
And so this one has been modified by me. And again, this is not it's not new ground, but this is sort of new ground. I've never seen one use one of these sticks. I saw a fellow attempt it, but he didn't do a great job. But what you've got in here is a RetroPie Zero, $5. You've got a power port right here. Mm-hmm. This goes to your HDMI, mm-hmm. and it works. I finished it up yesterday. It'll play, I don't know. I mean, the potential amount of stuff it'll play is depending on how big the SD card in it. This one has a smaller SD card to fit in the $20 to $25 range. I figure $5 for the card. This was $3.50. This was $1. Who knows, the joystick, let's just say $5-6. The SD card, I think it was $3. No, $4. So there it is. $20 game machine.
Except for the fact that that's not an off-the-shelf part. You couldn't get a controller a new controller off the shelf and do it for less than $20.
When was that part of the deal? You said a $20 game machine.
No, I didn't. I said
what do you mean off the
shelf part?
This is off my shelf.
Well, if you want to be that,
are you trying to tell me after I go out, I put together a sub $20 game, a full game console, and you're not going to honor?
I appreciate the effort, but those were not the terms of the original agreement.
Yeah, they were. You said I couldn't make a game machine for $20. No, $20.
That's not what I said. I said you had to use all off the shelf.
These are off the shelf. What are you talking about?
If you couldn't buy this new and come in under $20,
they don't make them new. It's all new old stock. So you're telling me, okay? I'm going to rewind for a minute. I can do this with just about any controller.
I don't believe
I can get it. I can absolutely do it with any controller.
There's not enough space in almost.
Yes,
any
there
controller.
is. I could take this. Started off as a Super Nintendo controller. I didn't want to destroy my Super Nintendo controller.
Good move.
To prove my point. However, I could buy a $3 USB Super Nintendo controller from China and do the same thing. Not because I'm great, because it's already been done. The RetroPie, which the software that's on it, the Raspberry Pi is so unbelievably small that you could look in here and it's so small you can't even see it. It's in there. It's in there. You can't even see it. It's so
Where
small.
did you get one of those? I've heard that they've been hard to find. Are they not as hard to find as they were?
They're hard to find. I got lucky a couple months ago, and I had one to fiddle with, and originally I was going to do this sort of thing, and then I thought, God, it's been done to death, and I'll just do something. The the Raspberry Pi is a tremendous item from the UK. It's just brilliant, and I thought I'm going to try to come up with something more clever to do with one.
Now let me ask you.
But I didn't come up with. But then we got to talking last week, and I was like, well, I bet I could do this real quick, and that's what I did.
Now let me ask you a question. All right, so do both joysticks work?
Every button on the joystick, including the thumbsticks.
Wow.
Everything.
And how did you interface the buttons with the Raspberry Pi?
Simple. I should probably shoot a video on this.
You should. I'd love to see it.
I'll explain it real quick. This isn't really Amiga, but I mean, actually, this would play Amiga stuff too if you want to go that route. This joystick. Now, and Roy, I'm not even going to concentrate on the Xbox joystick. One of the reasons I picked this one was because of the ease of the wiring. Okay. The Xbox used joysticks that had a nutty connector on them, but they're your USB joysticks with a nutty connector. Okay. Step one, I just cut off the cord. All right. Inside here, the cord runs into a little plug, and it literally the same colors as a USB port. I spliced the end of a micro USB cord to those wires. The RetroPie has one USB port, micro, and then one power port that's micro you can't use. Plug the joystick into that port. Okay? The HDMI and the power come directly off the Pi.
Right. That part I understand.
That's it.
That's it.
It's simple.
So this is something that you could do with an Xbox controller easily, or with anything Xbox and newer, because it's kind of a USB.
No. Most aren't, honestly.
Okay,
like a Nintendo controller would be, you'd have to, I don't want to get too much, but the Raspberry Pi Zero has a thing, all the Raspberry Pis have a thing called a GPIO, and they're just basically points that you can wire up, and they're programmable to do stuff.
Okay.
To use a Super Nintendo controller, for example, which has been, again, if you YouTube this stuff, it's been done to death. But people have done code out there to recognize the Super Nintendo controller, and they work perfectly. NES controller, no problem. Right in the controller, just like this.
But you were able to do this more easily than those retro controllers because this already has kind of a USB-like interface.
It has a USB interface. Okay. And it occurred to me as I was preparing to destroy a Super Nintendo controller, I was like, wait a minute. I've got one of these fat boys sitting around. I think I could wedge the whole damn thing in there. And so, in case anyone cares, these memory cards that go in here, remember these?
Oh, yeah.
There were plugs down in here. I took them out. All right. I had to cut away a little bit of plastic from inside and then wedge the thing down in there. It was no easy task. And the thing is, when you want to work on it, you got to disassemble it. The one thing about using, say, an NES cartridge or one of those is like you could probably cut a little slit in it, and then you could access stuff a little bit easier. But the difference is, I thought I've got USB on here. These buttons are all going to work. I have more access to more controls. Plus, I got it sitting around.
Yeah.
And so, and also, I knew I was trying to get it done before the show.
Here's the thing. That thing is awesome. And even though you did not technically abide by the rules of agreement,
I disagree with that.
I will still do whatever wacky, crazy thing you want me to do because this is really impressive. It
I'll
really
ponder
is.
it. I don't have to have you do anything, frankly. I just the challenge was enough.
And we need to maybe at the party tomorrow. We'll
no one's seen that but my partner. You know, if you've seen RetroPie, and I'm guessing you have, it's always the same.
Yeah.
You know,
it's cool though.
It's but it was fun to put together, and now that I've done it, I can do it 1,000,000 times over. So I'm probably out of the Xbox modding business now. It's something else.
You know, the Xbox modding business, I think, is not long for this world because of things like RetroPie.
Yeah. So, you know, in terms of the computer side of the RetroPies or the Raspberry Pis, there's a lot of avenues there to do some interesting stuff, which is somewhere down the line I'm going to fool with that too. So, but it was fun. It was a lot easier than you'd think, but.
You should. I wish that you could have, and I realized that you probably couldn't have. But it would have been neat for you to kind of make a making of video as you were doing it.
I didn't think it'd work. Yeah, I'll put something together. But yeah, it's a neat little project if you've got a fat boy sitting around. And like I said, these things you can get them pretty much. I see them all the time, like video game stores. People don't think they're great. I've been playing with this one today to test it, and it's not bad. It's just like an Xbox controller, you know. I don't have huge hands, so it's not too bad. Anyway, getting back to the Amiga news, I don't have any more Amiga news. That's pretty much it.
Well,
the Christmas season's upon us, and I think they have slowed things down a bit. Usually this time of year it gets a little slow, and then it'll pick back up.
Yeah. We've got, I want to make one very special announcement. We had a giveaway for our Defender of the Crown collector's edition, and we picked a winner, and we picked Adam Bradley. So Adam, if you didn't listen to last week's episode, and if you didn't get the email that I sent you and you're listening now, you have 1 week from today to claim your prize, to write to me with your address so I can send that to you. Otherwise, on next week's show, we will be picking another winner of the Defender of the Crown.
That would be horrible to not give that away to the first guy that won. You know, hopefully. Yeah, Adam, make that all-important call.
Yeah.
As Mean Gene used to say.
Yeah. We got several site updates this week. The newest thing we have up on the site, Gary just put this up tonight. He goes through the entire process of how to recap an Amiga 600. Have you seen that yet?
I've not seen that. No, I didn't see it when it was.
He did an excellent job on something that's got to be very difficult to shoot. He's got multiple camera angles set up and really nice close-up shots. He's really done a good job with this, and this kind of takes the fear. If you're not somebody that's ever considered recapping something before, and you want to find out more, this is a great place to start.
Have you ever recapped anything?
I recapped the monitor in there for the Double Dragon 2.
Yes, I forgot about that, and it worked out great too.
Yeah,
I don't think I was here when you turned that on the first time. Yeah. I recapped the monitor for a Donkey Kong, and it didn't work until my dad's like, "You missed a spot right there." I was like, "What? Oh man!" Because I'm telling you, you put some solder on it, it'll work. I was like, "It looks great." He's like, "Put some solder on it." Put some solder on it, fired up, looked perfect. I was like, "Son of a gun."
Yeah, that's the only thing that I've recapped. The only other kind of computer surgery that I've done is I redrew some circuit traces on my 1200 XL keyboard.
I'm going to need you to do that on my 400.
I think I've still got that circuit writer pin. So.
Yeah, because I've got one the keyboard doesn't work on, so that'd be great. But recapping is not. It's if you did Gary? Did you notice if we used the cap kit or did he just buy the stuff himself?
I don't know.
A lot of times. You can go to like eBay or also there are places online that will sell cap kits specifically made for your make and model of
makes
a
it
computer.
very, very easy.
And that way you've got a checklist and it makes it. That's what we did. Really, electrolytic capacitors are real simple to take out. Now, if you've got an airback solder sucker, you're in business with the real nice ones.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have them. I've used Wick.
Yeah, I just use Wick, and it's
Wick
no
sucks. but it's better than nothing.
Right. And it's better than those cheap pumps that don't work at all.
I remember going through school with one of those things. They're like, yeah, this will suck the solder right out. And like the thing is, I could never figure out was the tip of it's plastic.
Right.
And so inevitably it gets caked with solder and then it melts.
Yep.
And it's like, what does this do again?
Yep.
And of course the solder just runs up into the place where there's nothing to protect it. It just melts that too. Junk.
Yep, junk. The Chris Folds Advent Calendar comes to a close tomorrow.
I've been loving. I look at it every day, and it's very clever.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. He's had a lot of crazy stuff on there too.
Yeah. We had an Amiga Christmas miracle. Dan Ryan, Amigos listener, wrote in, and he was getting ready for a big retro meetup, just like we're going to have tomorrow, and his Amiga did not work. I guess he was replacing one of the pins, like the Diana or the Paula or something, and two of the pins on the chip snapped off. And he was like, what am I going to do? And then he remembered that he picked up a spare 1200 at a thrift store or something like that. And so he
remembered he had a spare. Wait a minute, now, back up.
I'm just
His
telling you what he wrote.
And all of a sudden, oh my God, I have two of these.
So, but there was something wrong with that one, but it did have the Paula chip or whatever he needed. He was able to take it out and put it back in. So you can read the whole story and find out details that I probably missed on that. Of course, Dreamcatcher has been at it like a man on fire. Speaking of fire, segue, he did a thing on the Graft Gold game Fire and Ice.
Oh, we were talking about that, remember?
Yeah. And we got an exclusive interview with Ocean's Gary Bracey.
I read that. Yeah, I did see that article. I don't know how that guy's a machine.
Yeah.
He always gets the good stuff, doesn't he? It was a great article, of course. You got anything else?
That's it for the site updates this week.
While I'm thinking about it, I got an email from Jason Warrens. And I don't know if
Canada's finest.
Yes. He's offered to send me down a new Paula chip for the 1200. Now, he asked a very important question, and the question was, do you have the means and ways to remove your Paula chip? And I replied to him, absolutely not. I used to, when I worked for IBM, we had what was called an air vac. It was a tremendous machine. It would let you easily pull those J-lead chips right off the board, flop a new one on there, wham, bam, Bob's your uncle. Unfortunately, this is a $250,000 machine. I don't have one handy. There are other ways to...
Screwdriver? Cry bar?
I've got some decent tools, and I have manually removed J-lead chips from boards, but
Are
it's
these
not
just
something
can you explain what that means? A J-lead chip?
You've got several different types of pins off of chips. Okay, for example, you've seen chips that set in holes on the board. They just fit down in there and they're soldered.
Yep.
That's pin through hole.
Okay.
Then you've got chips that sit on pads and the legs come out to the sides like little wings. Right. Then you've got, and those aren't too hard to get off. That's no problem. J-lead. Then you've got BGA chips, ball grid array. Those are chips that set flat on the board and you can't see under them. And they have no visible legs. Underneath of them is a grid pattern of little tiny dots that have solder on the little pads. And on the board, there is the same pattern of little dots. And what happens is they're heated up and they're put on those pads and they stay there. And there's a machine for that, the ball grid array machine, which I also ran when I worked at IBM. And it was a $1 million machine. It was super expensive. Probably not that much, but it was an expensive machine. And that's a real tough one.
Now, when people talk about surface mount components, is that what they're talking about?
Absolutely. That's definitely surface mount. But what this has is a J-lead, and which that is the lead comes out the side and curls back under the chip like this. Okay. And I don't remember how many that one's got. It's probably got 68 or something like that. I don't know how many it's got. And so what you've got to do, the problem with those are you have to, if you have leads that come out, you can just unsolder them and kind of pull them up. Right? You can do that with a J lead, but you can't access the solder points behind them. But more importantly, you're talking 70 pins or whatever. That's a lot of chances. It's a lot of chances to pull a pad. And it's one thing if you pull a pad. When I worked for IBM and Lexmark, if you pull a pad, well, heck, when it got to me, it was probably almost junked anyway. No problem. Yeah, or maybe you'll fix it, maybe not. When you're working on your antique, precious, your baby Amiga, the thought of doing that fills me with a certain amount of dread. And I'm getting by with what I'm doing now. I'm not 100% sure it's the pile. I think it is, but I'm not 100% sure. But there are methods I've heard about called, like there's a piggyback method I've heard of where you can just sort of basically unsolder the power in the ground of the other one and piggyback solder the chip on top of the other chip. You know, I don't know. But I'm looking into it. Let's put it this way.
That sounds very scary.
But
very
anyway,
scary.
It's nice of him to offer.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate it very much.
Well, shall we go into our game?
Yes, rock and roll.
All right, let's rock and roll with Rockstar Ate My Hamster. What can you tell us about it?
Well, it came out in '89, which it's a game of its era. That's for sure. Published by Codemasters, developed by Codemasters. A guy named Colin Jones, whose name is prominently displayed on the screen.
Title screen.
It was ran on the OCS. This thing came. This is something I didn't know. I didn't realize there were other computers that had this game. I thought it was an Amiga game, but I guess it's not. It appeared on the Amstrad, Atari ST, of course. This was on the Commodore 64, and of course, this game is so simple. It could be almost like on a calculator. It's super simple, and it was on the ZX Spectrum, of course, as well. I don't know which one came first. To be honest with you, I don't know exactly which one of these. I think the Amiga one was the original, but maybe not. I don't know. And I looked, I couldn't find anything on it. This was a full price release, so it was not a budget title. The name of the game, which is Goofy, I didn't know this until looking it up. Apparently, there was a headline in the Sun in the late '80s, and it said Freddie Starr ate my hamster. I don't know who Freddie Starr is. He may be a British rock star that I've never heard of.
Right.
But I guess that's where they got the inspiration from.
Okay.
The game is a simple game, and we're going to go over what you do. The setup is you're a record producer you're a producer who's inherited 50,000 pounds from, I believe, his dead aunt, and you and your stooge are going to become big-time rock and roll players. And so the first thing they have you do is decide how many people are going to be in your band. You can have up to 4, 1 to 4. After you decide how many members there are, you pick from an array of knockoffs, I guess would be the best way to put it, and you cobble together your band. Then you go out and buy them gear, and then you begin your odyssey and you name them. You can name them if you want, or it'll come up with a wacky name, and then you begin trying to make it in the record business. And the game ends when you've gotten 4 gold records or 4 gold singles. Because I think you really have 1 record and you really singles off it, and eventually you get up there. The look of the game is it's all menu driven. There is no action. There's no mini games.
There's no movement.
There's you use the joystick or the mouse just to move an arrow around. It's got little tunes. Really, it's full of music, but it's none of the music stuff that I would say is earth shaking. It's just wacky.
It's supposed to remind you of pop music.
Right, right. Most of the time you're looking at the 2 goofs, and then the record producer and his stooge, and then the menus, and then in the corner at the bottom of the screen you'll see however many rock and roll guys you've got, and then you pick from a variety of menus. And when you explain this game, it sounds kind of lame. In a way.
Well, it's exactly, if you ever played Drug Wars on your TI-85, you've played Rockstar Ate My Hamster.
I've not played on what machine?
TI-85.
The TI-85?
Yeah. Did you ever have one of those in school?
No, I've never heard of that.
It's a graphing calculator.
Oh, there's a game for one of those?
There's all kinds. Man, I was the king of games on the TI-85.
Really? My brother was obsessed with the calc program book. Is that the same one?
Yeah, it's the same one.
Oh, gosh, you guys and your calculators, man.
That's why I had stellar grades in math. Because I was playing Drug Wars, and there There was little runner games and things. I mean, it was a very simple display, but you could do good stuff on it.
I guess the meat of this game is the wacky characters in it. Mm-hmm. And when I say characters, I shouldn't say characters. It's more like profiles.
Caricatures.
Yeah. These are send-ups of popular artists of the day. Mm-hmm. I got a list here, and I'm going to read the name of the guy, and you try to guess who he is.
Okay.
All right? You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so, and a lot of these are simple. Okay, Wacko Jacko.
Michael Jackson.
That's right. Michael George, or Gorge, excuse me.
Boy George.
Right. Bimbo Baggins. This is a stretch. You have to see her, I guess, to get it. Very sexy Australian girl was in Street Fighter.
I can't think of her name.
Kylie Minogue.
Kylie Minogue, that's right.
Crispy Rind.
Crispy Rind?
Yeah.
I need a hint.
Lead singer of another band that was very popular.
George Michael.
No. It was Chrissy Hynde.
Oh, okay.
You already guessed George Michael, remember? Michael Gorge?
No, that was Boy George.
No, that was George Michael. Michael George was George Michael.
Okay.
Rick Astley.
Rick Astley.
That's right. Morrissey. That's right. I can't believe you took a second on that one. Who else could it be? Morrissey. Maradona.
Madonna.
That's right. Jason Donner Kebab. You're never going to get this one. Jason Donovan.
Okay.
This is an old one. Gracie Chapperson.
Tracy Chapman.
That's right. I'm very impressed by that.
Baby, get a fast car.
Oh, God.
Take its face with my torch.
Is that the lyrics, or are you just making stuff up?
Probably not the
Please
lyrics.
don't freestyle, Boat. Scratch and Sniffa.
Salt and Pepper?
That's right. Midge Sewer.
Ugh.
Yeah, I'm not sure who this chick is.
What's her real name?
Midge Ear.
Oh.
How about
maybe Welsh?
Sado. Or how about Sado? That'd be a better way.
Sade, S-A-D-E.
Sade, yeah. Snoozy Sue. Wow, this band takes me back.
Sushi and the Banshees?
Susie Sue and the Banshees. Yeah. They were very popular when I was in school. By George.
Boy George.
That's right. Mince. Mince. I love it. You know who Mince is? Sorry. It's Prince.
Okay.
Mince. That's great. Bill Collins.
Phil Collins.
That's right. Elvin Dwight.
Oh, it's
know that one, yeah. Iggy Carrust.
Iggy Pop?
No, David Bowie.
No. Oh, yeah.
Peter Gobsmacked.
So Peter Gabriel.
Yeah. Annie Smallpox.
Yeah, Annie Lennox.
That's right. Brian Nylon.
Is it the White Wedding guy?
No. You mean Billy Idol?
Yeah.
No. Brian Ferry.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who he is? Mm-hmm. It was probably before your time. Rotten Johnny.
Johnny Rotten.
Right. Stiff Pilchards.
Nope.
Cliff Richards.
Okay.
You know who that is?
I know who Cliff Richards is.
Dingo Strap.
Dire Straits.
No, Ringo Starr.
Oh yeah, these are
I love people. Ringo. Harry Human.
Human
Cars.
League? Oh, Gary Newman.
That's right. Rupert Beadle.
Rupert Beadle?
Band on the Run.
Oh, Paul McCartney?
That's right. John Michael Jars.
No.
Gene Michael Jar.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with that one. Dick Knackard.
Nope.
Mick Jagger.
Okay.
Derek Clapout.
Eric Clapton.
Yeah. Tina Turnoff.
Well, that's obvious.
Meathead.
Obvious.
You gotta say it though for the audience.
Meatloaf.
That's right. Bruce Stringbean.
Bruce Springsteen.
String.
Sting.
String. Frank Zipper.
Frank Zappa. Man, there's a lot of people.
Oh, I know. Eddie Quicksilver.
Eddie Van Halen.
No, Freddie Mercury. Get it? Eddie Quicksilver. That's Sneezy Wonderful.
Is it Stevie Wonder?
Yeah. Bonehead.
Bone Thugs and Harmony.
No. No! Bone Thugs and Harmony. It's Bono. Kate Bush.
Kate Bush.
Very good. Harley Watts. Wow. Can you imagine picking him up for your band? For old Charlie.
Oh, okay, Charlie Watts. Okay.
Wow, I gave it away, didn't I? Here's another one. Freddie Grunt. I believe this guy sang Electric Avenue.
I don't know who sang that.
Eddie Grant, I think. Boy, I'm going to get caught out on that if I get it wrong. Witless Houston.
Whitney Houston.
Harvey Headband.
Harvey Feinstein.
No, Mark Knopfler.
Oh.
Cod. Cod.
I don't know.
Fish. That's what it says here. Fish.
Fish, like F-I-S-H?
F-I-S-H.
Okay, maybe that was...
Jane Jett.
Joan Jett?
Yeah. So, oh wait, there's a few more here. Sydney Sparkle.
Cyndi Lauper?
No, Gary Glitter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hey!
Yeah.
He's a bad boy, though.
Yeah,
I think he's in the Slam.
Yeah.
Rodney Holder.
Rodney Dangerfield.
Nope. No, Rodney Dangerfield didn't sing.
You that's untrue.
Well, he didn't sing well. Noddy Holder. Ted Newsagent.
Ted Nugent.
Right. Dozzy Trowell. Cozy Powell.
Yeah.
Izzy Asbin.
Izzy Izzard?
No, it's Ozzy Osbourne. Oh, here's one of my favorites. Titchy Blackhead. Richie Blackmore.
I don't know who that is.
You get Deep Purple.
Deep Purple.
Blackmore's Night.
I know nothing about Deep Purple.
One of the all-time great guitarists in the history of the world. Nothing? Okay. Moving on. Alice in Nightmare.
Alice Cooper.
Lummy.
Lemmy?
That's right. Lummy. So, anyway, that was ludicrous. But it's fun. And then there are plenty of other bands that are just made up, like the Rent Shop Boys. And, what was the one? Fear of Midgets.
Yeah.
That's another one I like.
They're just really, really funny names.
Or old 60s Gits.
Yeah.
That's another one. So anyway, you pick from amongst that roster, that fine roster of musicians. You pick the 1 to 4 you want. You name them. You name their band. And then you practice. And then you book gigs. And you can book in a club. You can book a university.
It's a club,
yeah.
university,
concert hall,
stadium.
And then you book how many nights you're there and how much you charge for tickets. So you've got a lot of control over this, although I guess.
Yeah, and so what the game comes down to is that you're making all of this money because it seems like you can't fail when you sell out. You know, you find the right ratio.
Oh, you can fail. Remember, you failed 3 or 4 times right away.
As long as you understand the mechanics of how much it costs to rent the hall, you know, you very rarely, like, when we played, we didn't ever have a time where you just didn't sell any tickets and you went bankrupt. You know, you're always going to sell tickets. It's finding the right ratio of cost versus capacity, and you end up making a ton of money. Where the game falls apart for us is that we don't understand the best way to spend that money, because you release an album. And then, you know, at the beginning of the game, it says we'll give you 5%, you know, for, you know, royalties and so much of a signing bonus.
If you accept the deal.
Yeah, if you accept the deal. If you accept the deal, then you go into the studio and you record. And eventually you can choose, you know, whether you want to have a 4-song, an 8-song, 16, whatever.
I chose like a 64 track.
Right.
Can you imagine sitting around doing that? How much money would that cost you?
I chose a 4-song album, but I ended up with like 20 songs.
I think that it might have slipped down or something, because I never had that problem before.
Okay, maybe it did. I don't know. But anyway, we ended up recording a ton of songs. So then you release singles, and where the game falls apart is that you know, no matter what you do, you don't seem to have any control over where the thing shows up in the charts. Because we were selling out stadiums and all this crazy stuff, but we couldn't get a single to chart. You know, we got to chart for like a week, and then it disappeared again.
I've played this, like I said, I'd played this back in the day. This was a game I played quite a bit. And I was able to get a couple gold albums, and the game we had here for the Amigos play is you had a very bad string of publicity. The worst I've ever seen. I mean, it was probably like 7 or 8 in a row that were bad. I think that buried the band deep beneath the crust of the earth. I don't know how the various factors work together. This is sort of like a very advanced version of WWF.
Yeah, micro league wrestling.
Like micro league wrestling that had you were screwed. It was utter random. There's something to it, but I don't. And I looked around. I'm like, what's the secret to this game? And I don't know. I don't know what the secret is. I think the big secret is playing it for a long time. I have a feeling that if you make one of those albums that have like 64 tracks, and it allows you to release track after track after track, that I'd say your popularity builds over time. Because, like I said, from the people I heard talking about this game that said they'd beat it, I kept seeing 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours.
It's a slow burn.
I've never sat and played it that long because you get to a point where it loses a lot of its appeal because you're just doing the same thing over and over.
You've seen all the tricks.
Now this game comes up with, they've got some cute angles. You've got stuff that like one time Boat was recording, and I've seen this before. The guy Clive, he screwed up your track, and then so screwed that up, and he had to do it again. And then I've seen people like Taiwan CD pirates are copying your album. You got to do something about that. And then there's sometimes your sponsor gets screwed up. Sometimes you do a gig for charity and it's a bad charity and you look like a jerk. Boat in the last game we played, when he went to do publicity, one of his band members got killed in a plane wreck. So that can happen. So you can that could whittle it down. But the thought of playing this for 5 hours, I've played it for 45 minutes here, half hour here. And probably over, if you keep saving the game and keep doing it that way, you could probably build up over a couple of weeks. But I couldn't sit down and play for 5 hours. Not if I was doing that just by itself. It's just not enough depth to it. That much said, it certainly is not without its novelty. There is a certain amount of depth. You can name you can name your band. You can name your singles. All your songs. You can name your album. It's neat to see the charts. The charts are always funny. They have all kinds of crazy band names in it that are funny. Their songs are funny. So there's a lot of humor in the game that legitimately amusing humor.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a game it reflects the era it was released with the artists and the feel of it. It's not a one-trick pony, but maybe a 1.5-trick pony.
I think that's accurate.
And when I played this as a younger Aaron back in the day, I thought it had a lot more depth than it actually does, to be honest with you. But it's still good. I'll give it a good mark. Would I have paid full price for this back in the day? Full price. This is the embodiment of it. If this was a budget release, this would have been a top shelf budget release. Like, you'd really get your bang.
Yeah.
But for full price, I don't know. The game has a one picture of topless girl in it. That's
true. Be aware.
That will keep Boat on the editing bench for a little while longer. I read a couple places. I can't confirm this. That someone complained, a parent complained about one of the jokes in the newspaper, the publicity newspaper, probably the topless girl, and the game got pulled from the shelves. And so I also read, same website, same guy, that the game was featured in the 50 best rock and roll video games of all times in Rolling Stone.
Well, let's look at the other rock and roll video games.
That was where I was going to go there. I can't
Wayne's World, the Blues Brothers. These are not stellar examples of good games.
I'm trying to think of a great rock and roll game.
Journey Escape. Bam.
Journey, you mean the arcade version?
Arcade version.
Absolutely. That is a good game. Gosh.
That's the list.
Can you think of another one?
That's the list.
Let's think of one here. I'm going to ponder this. What about Jack Black's rock and roll, beat 'em up that he had out? What was that called?
That game reviewed very, very poorly.
Yeah, but still, it's there.
It's there. It's called. I can't even remember what it's called, but I know exactly what you're talking about. The audience knows what we mean.
There's got to be a game where you get band members to do stuff. A real famous one, aside from Journey Escape.
Well, there.
What about Rock Band?
I don't think you count that, though. That's not really...
Why not? Or Guitar Hero?
Well, I mean, sure. Those games are obviously 1,000 times better than any of the games that we've mentioned.
Can you imagine coming up with 50 rock and roll games?
Yeah.
50?
You're really scraping the bottom
It's like
of the barrel.
Guitar Hero Wii version.
Well, isn't there an Iron Maiden game?
Is there?
Yeah, because remember when Lemmy died and they re-released it? We talked
He's
about
not
it on this
Lemmy's
show.
not in Iron Maiden.
Or not Iron Maiden.
Oh, yeah, the Motorhead game. That should be in the list.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Good. Nice work, Boat. I didn't know this until today when I was finally doing my notes. There is a cheat code for this game.
Oh.
Where's this thing been all my life? If you type Colbops, Colbops, and press one of the following keys, you activate a secret cheat. The cheats are, you can make 100,000 pounds. You can make the band play their best, or you can have them have the biggest audience. That would probably help. So I'll make a home experiment with that and see if it does anything. I looked this up on eBay. Good luck. This is a pretty rare title. There was a dude in Italy selling the tape version, 60 or so bucks. Mm-hmm. There's a tape in the UK, about $20. I don't guess this was never released in the US. I know that for sure. So there is no US version. Someone sold the disc for the UK version of the Amiga a couple of days ago. It just ended for $25 just for the disc.
Wow.
That's pretty high.
Yeah.
As far as the games we look at go. So it's a fun little distraction. Oh, there are a couple places that will let you play this in your browser with Java, which is, we talked about this before the show. It's the perfect phone game.
Yeah, you don't lose a lot in a game like this playing it in a browser.
And you can modernize this too, and it'd be kind of fun. Mm-hmm. I like the idea of managing a rock band.
Yeah, and there probably is actually a game just like this on iOS right now, or the App Store on Android.
Yeah,
because all of these indie app developer. I played a Japanese hotel manager game that was just like this. I mean, it's very.
Was it one of those hotels that had the rooms that are like coffins?
The capsule hotels.
Is that what they are?
Yeah.
Would you stay in one of those?
Probably. I mean, they're not super tiny.
What if they got a American fat guy size capsule?
I think you just have less room.
Is that so? It just stays shut. It's like a train. They get the guy from the subway just to shove me in with a plunger. How do I get out of there? It's like being PK zipped into something.
It would be interesting, but there's no, in the capsule hotels, there's not a door at the end of your capsule. It's just a curtain. So you don't have to worry about being trapped in there forever.
But you still have to get in it, right?
Oh yeah, you still got to get in there.
I wonder if they open from the top or the side.
It's you climb in right through the. I mean, it's
sort of like those things.
cylinder.
Remember those things at the bank? You had to open the side. You stick your thing and it goes in the air. It takes it in there. Or like isolation chamber, a tanning bed.
Mm-hmm.
Except
these are much bigger than that. I mean, you should watch on. You got Hulu now, right?
No.
Okay. They've got. They had this crazy show. William Shatner, Terry Bradshaw.
I heard about that. Yeah.
They go to Japan and they stay in a capsule hotel. You can see everything.
How did George Foreman do in that thing?
George Foreman did not do well in there.
He's a large man.
None of those guys are small people.
Just for fun, what were you listening to in '89? You were how old?
I was 8 years old in 1989.
Whoa, man! I was the year I graduated high school.
So I still had not really discovered pop music at all. I think I listened to a lot of the Jets. Remember the Jets?
Yeah. I didn't like them.
And I listened to the Beach Boys, and that was when, sometime around there was when that La Bamba movie came out. And I remember
Richie Valens' life story.
Yeah, and I remember that was on the radio a lot.
Yeah, that was Los
Lobos.
Los Lobos. Yes, I like Los Lobos.
Yeah,
I was into that stuff. I was into '89. I was probably starting my love affair with acoustic guitar. At that point, I was Indigo Girls, old Ziggy Stardust, stuff like that. That's probably into that stuff.
Now, high school me listened to a lot of stuff from 1989, like They Might Be Giants.
Yeah, I was into them too.
REM from that period I like a lot, like Out of Time, that record. Elvis Costello.
What were the hits off that one?
That was Shiny Happy People.
Oh, that song is the worst. That's the worst.
What?
That song, it makes me want to kill somebody.
Why?
And I like REM. Shiny, happy people.
What's wrong with that
God.
song?
Oh, God. That's so,
well, I can't argue with that defense.
That thing's so syrupy. It makes me want to wipe my nose with a pancake.
That might have been the biggest hit. Oh, no, Losing My Religion.
Was that on that album?
Was that on that, or was that on Out of Time?
I thought that came on. That came out later. That didn't have like a Texarkana.
Yeah, that had Texarkana on there.
That's a great song.
Yeah, that whole album's great. It's a great album.
I like a lot of REM stuff.
That and I'm losing my mind. I shouldn't.
Was Orange Crush on that one?
No, that was before. But yeah, a lot of great music from the late '80s. The Cure albums from that time period. Disintegration came out in, I think, '90.
Yeah, I got that album. I'm sad to say, yeah. I got a lot of that.
But again, I came on to all this stuff 10 years afterwards. So.
Well, I lived it. I can tell you, the last thing you wanted to hear in that school hallway when you were getting ready to go into biology was shiny, happy, freaking people. I can tell you that right now.
I had the chick from B-52 singing.
I know. I love her. But that song it's just, I don't blame him for making it, but man, just a bad effect.
I love the strings. And then it kicks in. That 80s jangly guitar. And the hand claps.
Listening to you do this, it makes me happy that the human beatbox went away.
It's still here. I live it every day.
It's the human beat down when I have to listen to these little tunes you sing. We got to end this show. We're getting stupid.
All right. So you didn't talk about reviews. Did this game review anything?
The reviews I saw were middling.
Well, that's understandable.
Yeah, I know. Let's be honest. I mean, it's a fun little thing. I didn't see a ton of reviews, to be honest with you. I only saw 2. There's a 68 and a 72. So,
yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
I'm glad that we played this. I'm glad that O'Brien suggested it. It's something different. It's something truly unique. We haven't done a game like this before.
When he mentioned it to me, I was like, man, that was one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. This is a game, and I still like it. It didn't hold up for me. I'd say I'll look at it with rose-tinted glasses, but it's just a little too shallow.
Yeah.
The makings are there of a really cool game if they really wanted to, and they could make it wacky, or you can make it serious too.
Automatic for the People is the name of that REM album that I couldn't think about. That either Losing My Religion's on that or on Out of Time.
I see. I think it was on. I think it was on Out of Time. I don't know.
Probably. So Man on the Moon was on Automatic for the People. Night Swimming, my favorite song.
I would like to see a rock and roll manager game. Like I said, right now.
Mm-hmm.
So get on it.
Well, it would be a cool thing to integrate into Rock Band,
It would, because they need something. They didn't have anything else.
Because, instead of, just waiting around or clicking through, you can play a song with your band, and then you can see how many... That seems like a missed opportunity.
We need to look into this. We'll report next week what we found. There's got to be one.
Yeah.
There's got to be one out there.
Well, let's go ahead and take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters.
Yes.
I'd like to thank...
They're fine folk.
Jason Wearns.
Yes.
Graham Vebke, Rob O'Hara, Paul Harrington, Lauren Giroux, Jonas Rullo, Kolbjorn Barman, Tapes from the Crypt, Adam Bradley, Chris Foltz, Will Williams, Daniel Bingston, O'Brien's Retro and Vintage, Chad Halstead, and Brent Dowdy. Thank you so much for your support. You help keep the lights on here at the Amigos Studios. If you'd like to support the Amigos podcast, go over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/Amigos podcast.
And you could also, you can take a one-time thing too.
Yeah,
we had a fella do that.
If you want to send a PayPal donation, I actually don't have a PayPal account set up for our Amigos. You can send me just a PayPal one-time donation at johnschaller@gmail.com, and we take money however you want to send it to us. We don't discriminate.
Yeah, no kidding.
So anyway, Aaron, next week you have a game suggestion you're throwing out there. This is a game based on the life of Freddie Mercury called Fiendish Freddy.
No, absolutely not, sir. No. This is a great little circus game, as I remember it. Dun dun dun. So we're going to play Fiendish Freddy's Big Top, and we're going to see if it holds up. Another game that I played in my younger days, and I don't know if this got released on anything else either, so we'll find out next week.
All right, that sounds great. We'll see you then. Until next time, adios.